TAMATHA Paul.
Thank you, Mr Chair. We echo the same sentiments as my colleague Ginny Anderson in terms of, advocates who have pushed so hard for this bill have been waiting for decades for this, so we don't want to prolong that any further. My questions are around a similar aspect to Ginny Anderson's around the kind of mental component of knowing that your actions might cause harm to somebody. And I wanted to ask whether the Minister would consider inserting provisions around ought to know or potentially knowing that an act might cause harm to person B or any reasonable person. The reason that we're interested in these kinds of amendments are because stalkers can be delusional and they can be completely unaware of the whether deliberately or not, unaware of the psychological impacts of their actions, and so we want to capture that so that if a perpetrator tries to deny that they didn't realise it would cause harm or distress, that isn't a defence in that case. The other amendment paper that I want to speak to in relation to Clause 4, it's under my name, is around police notification, and I'm really hoping that the Minister might be open to collaborating on this aspect. So obviously this bill introduces police notification upon first kind of reporting of any of the specified acts under this Act. We are asking that the constable that is involved in any investigation informs the victim before they provide the notice under that police notification. The reason that we want the police to give this information to person B is because this will give them a heads up that their perpetrator will be informed. This means that they can make preparations themselves to ensure that they are safe, to ensure that they know what is coming, to insulate themselves against any retaliation that person A might undertake in order to intimidate person B. So those are really the only questions we have on part one, but really would like the Minister to consider our amendment paper around the constable having to inform person B before serving the notice to person A.
Okay, so I agree with Tamatha and Jenny on this one. I think this is much needed amendments. Very interesting going over the amendments themselves over the original bill. The Axe Party brought up the point of risk of over-criminalisation, which is very interesting for stalking. While they support this bill, they expressed a cautionary note about ensuring the threshold is not set so low that it unintentionally creates offenders for minor disputes, potentially burdening the courts. Now, that's really interesting. That's why I'm on the team of get more judges then.
Well, here's an example of harassment that I suffered when I worked at Domino's Live-In. Mm-hmm. So I had people I would cut out of my life, want nothing to do with them. So I'd stop going around to where they live, stop socialising with all that. However, the one thing they'll try to do to drag me back in is force it via my employer to get pizzas delivered. That was something in there. I know that was calculated. That was literally doing that, and that went on for on and off for years. Later on, these same people tried to do the same thing by turning up to my workplace at BP on my shifts.
Yeah, that is creepy behaviour, right?
Yeah.
There.
Like that sort of thing there. Like one of them even complained to head office because I sat there and told her, I go, I don't actually rather if you just stop coming to my workplace, please. You know I work here. You seem to come here on many of my shifts. My shifts aren't consistent and you still come here. How rude! And sat there and complained. And my boss sat there and said, do you only come here when he's on? Well, no. It's like, well, I'll go and look at surveillance footage. Oh, funny. You only seem to turn up when he's on. And he doesn't want anything to do with you.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Yeah,
and I'll tell you that was a live-in mentality. When I went to BP Johnson, never had that problem.
Yeah, especially if he's not a friend of yours. If you've had
there's different ones. So this was a particular female, but yes.
Yeah, if you're not friends with them and you've told them very clearly, look, I don't appreciate you doing this, and they're still doing that. Yeah, that should be reportable to the police. That's some pretty creepy behaviour.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the things I hated. It was a minor thing I hated about that particular BP site was a 2-person open door site.
Yep.
But yeah, it was something I absolutely hated.
Yeah.
And and it was just it was certain people who would sit there and consistently do that. Yeah, but like, I mean, I remember one time with this is the one where with Domino's, I got hit up in the bar by one of their friends being disgruntled in the toilets.
Yep.
You
So-
know, well, that's not what I've been told. I just want nothing to do with them. Well, that's not what I've been told. You keep hassling them. Yeah, it's quite funny when the bouncer of the bar sits there and goes and has words with him as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Again, going over the bill, the left-wing bloc actually argued that the bar was too high, and then you've got ACT saying, well, the bar's too low.
I mean, there has to be a point where you've got to make sure that people do not misuse it. But that's also where, you know, like, if you've got a level-headed police officer, they can sniff out abuse.
Oh, I've
they
got
can
one
tell
of
when
those.
someone's abusing that. But, you know, like, here's one thing. You don't be a person on like an example where it could be misused. And it's probably not quite the stalking legislation, but protection orders. Hi there. Oh, the only person who delivers the pizza is the person I have the protection order with. And then you go there, oh, you breached your protection order while delivering the pizza at the request of the customer. Now, under the current laws, probably the person who had the protection will be done it. Now, however, the fact that the order for the delivery, knowing that scenario to occur, that could be fought. But at the point of where it will be fought would be at the court level, not at the police officer go, hey, mate, you're misusing the Protection Order Act.
Is this bill under urgency?
It is this. Yes, this one was under the urgency motion.
Good, because this is the only bill I approve of so far that's been put under urgency.
There's also one that increases about the judges as well. That was also passed under urgency for High Court.
Yep. That's like those are okay. National, two good examples right there of you using urgency.
Quite a few
Bad example.
bills.
Everything else.
Quite a few of the bills that were passed under urgency were quite majority supported by the House.
Yep.
You know, like Labor supported more than half of them, and Greens supported many of them as well. I'm not sure about was it Te Pāti Māori or the two independents.
Well, yeah, I mean, I question half the stuff that Labor supports, but anyway, that's just my gripe with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go over the amendments. Like, what problems are these amendments going to solve? So, what it seeks to solve, the amendments being put in, is the pattern recognition problem. So the lower threshold, 2 acts in 2 years better captures the reality of stalking, which can be intermittent but sustained, causing prolonged fear. That sounds like what you experienced. It solves the modern harassment gap, so explicitly including doxing, addressing a harmful online behavior that was not clearly covered before in the current legislation. So including that, doxing, absolutely put that in there. Solves the protection gap by allowing orders even after a discharge without conviction, ensures victims are protected without having to start separate costly civil cases. I support that. Solves the weaponizing of intimacy problem. The power to destroy intimate recordings prevents stalkers from holding this material over victims as a form of ongoing control. So, yeah, we all know about that. So it's like leaked tapes and stuff like that. And solves the lethal mix problem. So linking stalking convictions to firearm prohibitations, recognizes the high risk of escalation to serious violence, particularly in family violence context. So I don't know why ACT is hesitant to support that. Maybe it's to do with the firearms. God knows what.
Could be why, yeah. I mean, it could be why, particularly if it's potentially misused. Like, here's the thing is, a without notice protection order served against someone, immediately their firearms license is suspended and the police are meant to go out and seize all guns they have.
Yep.
Now that is before the person that is before the person alleged to have the order against them has actually had their day in court. Yeah. So that is possibly the angle they're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about convictions though.
Yeah. This one is convictions, but the other one of the things that this can back up another thing is the protection orders because the protection orders are typically can be granted without a conviction. It can be granted and typically it's the first stage that you have to sit there and say if you have domestic violence in a family. I mean, I helped a former colleague do that to her ex on getting custody of kids. And I did tell her what could be used to get that for her because I don't want to see her 5 years down the track having the kids taken off her. You know, that's what I did to help a former colleague with that. And when you get her mother comes in and thanks me at work going, I never would have thought of that. And I go, well, we're all in it together because this is the one colleague who found out that every single staff member at work were willing to back her over when she went through domestic violence.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. If you've been convicted of stalking behaviours, you should not have access to firearms. I'm sorry, because quite often stalking escalates into violence.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook.